all of the stuff. Ooh, the Lunar Lorkhan. Let's talk about this one. The Lunar Lorkhan by Faldrune. Also, notably, the author of Where Were You? The Dragon Break Re-Examined, which is blatantly wrong. And Faldrune is an anagram of Darn Fool. So bear that in mind with how much stock that the game developers want you to actually have with this book. I will not go into the varying accounts of what happened at Adamantine Tower, nor will I relate the War of Manifest metaphors that renders those stories unable to support most qualities of what is commonly known as narrative. So yeah, the War of Manifest metaphors happened while time was wibbly-wobbly and causality was just not really happening. We all have our favourite Lorkhan story and our favourite Lorkhan motivation for the creation of Nirn and our favourite story of what happened to his heart. But the theory of the Lunar Lorkhan is of special note. In short, the moons were and are the two halves of Lorkhan's flesh divinity. Ooh, flesh divinity, flesh and divinity, that duality going along there, maybe? Like the rest of the gods, Lorkhan was a plane that participated in the Great Construction, except where the eight lent portions of their heavenly bodies to create the mortal plane Lorkhan's was cracked asunder, and his divine spark fell to Nirn as a shooting star, quote, to impregnate it with the measure of its existence and a reasonable amount of selfishness. That quote makes me think that it's coming from somewhere else, but we don't ever find out where that's being quoted from, which mildly bugs me. But part of what it's doing here, to give it a measure of its existence. Now, you can only measure things which stop. So, to get the measure of its existence, the heart is meaning that the heart is falling and is impregnating the world with the ability to have a measured existence. It's making the world mortal in what it's doing. And a reasonable amount of selfishness, self-preservation, I think, self-preservation comes from being mortal. You don't need to worry about your own concerns or your own need to protect yourself if you are living forever. So that's where that all comes from, I think. Massa and Secunda, therefore, are the personifications of the dichotomy, the cloven duality, according to Artaeum, that Lorkhan legends often rail against. Ideas of the anima/animus, good/evil, being/nothingness, and the poetry of the body, throat and moan, silence as the abortive, and so on, set in the night sky as Lorkhan's constant reminder to his mortal issue of their duty. Exactly what their duty is, that's not clear in this text at all, as far as I can see. But if we're to take it that duality is what Lorkhan myths are railing against, then maybe they're to reunite things or to bind together, maybe? I don't honestly know. There are hints that Lorkhan's secret and overall plan and stuff were basically to use Mundus as a testing ground, as a place to transcend and move beyond into the next universe. But, well, into the next universe is a bit of a stretch, but or at least with the text that we have in the franchise itself. But that's been hinted at with various unlicensed works. But I don't honestly know. Followers of this theory hold that all other heart stories are mythical degradations of the true origin of the moons, and it needn't be said that they observe the hollow crescent theory as well. So basically they're saying, yeah, this is all the same sort of stuff. If you follow this, then you're going to just have this being degraded, retold in various ways by other myths. But this hollow crescent theory, I remember hearing somewhere that that's a reference to how the moons are seen in the sky in some of the earlier games, that if you glitch the display in a certain way, it would appear as a kind of a hollow crescent or just an outline of a crescent or something. That's what the hollow crescent theory is referring to here.